week looking, as we do each week, at expiring domain names. Someone registered it. They had a dream. They pursued it. And for whatever reason, they got distracted. And the result is their domain name is going to expire. This happens hundreds of thousands of times a week. And we are there to look through and find the best domain names that need a new life, domain names that we can build amazing businesses on. Sound good? That's what we do each week. So if you're joining us on Restream, welcome. Glad to have you here. And I'm excited to have you with us because live is, well, if you're watching on Restream, just know live is the way to watch. 3 p.m. Eastern time is when we come together to do this show each Monday. Except for next Monday, it's going to be recorded. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But typically, live is the best way to do it. It's not about me. It's about the community. It's about all the people that are in the chat, others that are either already building, running domain-based businesses, investing in domain names. Lots of amazing people in the chat during this show. So make sure you're out there chatting and letting us know what you're up to. We'll bring it up on the show if we can tie it in. Otherwise, enjoy everybody that's out there. I love seeing everybody popping in. Make sure you're saying hi as you come in if you're watching and joining us live, so that way I know and others know you're here as well. So today we're going to be looking through expiring domain names, so the domain names that are going to expire over the next week, as well as we're going to be looking at a couple of the domain names I saw that are expiring this week. Busybody.com. It's an expression, especially in the U.S., those who are just get into other people's business are busybodies. So busybody.com as well as Bygones.com is also ending this week. So I thought those two were kind of a nice contrast. We're going to talk about those domain names as well as many others. We're going to get to a few hundred of the best domain names expiring this week. And I'm going to answer and talk about one of the number one questions I'm asked, which is, how do I get customers? How did I launch towing.com? How did it, start making money? Which towing.com is my domain-based business. It's the primary one that I've run. It's what I've based and studied and used that industry to develop an expertise about developing domain-based businesses that I share with you here each week. So I have some insight. I welcome your questions in the chat as well. With all that said, it is time to get this party started. See you after this.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Walsh and get started right now.
All righty, let's go indeed. I think the brave, you were sitting there just waiting to toss that in. I saw it right at 3, right as I was getting ready to say hi. So welcome, nice to have you. I'm always curious as to who's right behind the brave. I don't know if I've seen that username before. Jeffrey, nice to have you as well. Back with us live. I love to have you. Thanks for joining us. And Matt, nice to have you back as well. He was off skiing last week and enjoying vacation, which is what it's all about. Nice to have him back. Last week we talked about party pooper. You're not a party pooper if you're on vacation. That's awesome. If I met, I would be the party pooper. So, well, let me just share this. Let me just take one moment and show you. This is towing.com. Towing.com. How about that? Towing.com is exactly what you expect it to be. If you're looking for a towing company, you can find them on towing.com. And, to many, especially outside of the domain name industry, you're kind of like, well, what's that? Why is that? All kinds of questions pop up. But the number one thing is, how did it get started? How did it start making money? Because chances are you are sitting there with many great domain names in your portfolio that are maybe as good as a towing.com. And you're thinking like, if I could just get it started, I would be able to generate revenue and travel and do the things that I want to do as well. And So I'm asked most frequently about how do I get started? Drew, how did you get going? What were the first steps? How did you start making money? And early in this show, we're on episode 131 weeks of Domain to Profit. And some of the earliest weeks, I spent a lot of time talking about how we got started, the revenue, how to generate your first customers, and so on. But I get it. That's a couple of years ago as of this point. And since we do these shows live and we're talking about expiring domains, a lot of that content's hidden out. So I want to share again just towing.com. So I will say I bought towing.com from a person in California, and I actually had to put my house on the line, flew out to California. I was a 20-something-year-old kid. Don't know why a bank was actually willing to give me $175,000, but I had this cashier's check and went out there and I'm like, please give me your domain name. Not exactly, but long story short, we negotiated the price. I went out there and got towing.com. But it didn't start with a $175,000 domain name. It started with about a $9,000 domain name, and that was autotowing.com. So sometimes here on Domain to Profit, I talk about a beachhead type domain name, a domain name that you buy for less than the marquee domain name, but you use it to access an industry. Well, I used autotowing.com to start to play with the idea of doing a towing.com type site. And because I had already started a little bit, so let me actually back it up and just say, so how did I start to get business on auto towing? Obviously not as good of a domain name as towing.com, right? Is that correct? Do you agree towing.com is better, which I do agree as well. So I had autotowing.com, and I was like, this makes sense as a local directory. So we started to find out if it would work. And some of those earliest videos, I talk about a statement that I encourage you to use, even if it's on a domain name you don't own or that you're considering. And that is, if I will you statements. You can you can reach out to people in an industry that you're interested in and say, hey, if I develop autotowing.com and create a local directory, and would you be interested in paying me, would you pay me $40 to show up in your area? Something like that. Have the conversations with potential customers. They're going to tell you, don't listen to me about an industry that I'm not aware of. There is a grind to finding the first customers. I wish I could tell you that there's some magic formula. There's not. It is a grind. You are calling people to possibly sell them and to talk to them about something that may not even exist yet. So we started with autotowing.com, and we actually purchased a few other domain names for somewhat cheap, like autotowing.com, towingcompany.com, roadsideservice.com. We bought all three of those domains. Anyhow, we had 4 domains total. Towing.com was not one of them. We had put about $20,000 into domain names as of that point, and we were grinding on it. We were selling subscriptions. Hey, will you pay us $20 a month to be on all of our sites? And the answer was yes. We had heard yes a decent amount. And the benefit of yes is every time you get a yes, it's kind of like, ooh, maybe there's something here. Maybe this is as big as what I think it could be. So we took autotowing.com and we got it up to around 100 towing companies were advertising before we ever went to towing.com. And how do we get those companies? We called towing companies. We cold called them. We grinded, and we just worked at it. At first, it was me, and then it was a salesperson, and we just grinded. And it was very hard work, which is why I always say, when you were looking at these expiring domain names and you were trying to make the decision for you, which domain name to buy that you were going to develop, make sure you're buying a domain name in an industry that you're interested in, something that you can grind at and be interested in. Personally, it was very difficult for me to work in the towing industry I had very little knowledge of the industry, almost none. I worked third shift dispatch and towing. That's kind of my only tie to the industry. However, I had been dealing with auto transporters, which are the long distance version of a towing company. If you need to ship a car across country, you would use an auto transporter. Well, that had given me kind of an in, a little bit of an access, a little bit of an understanding of the industry, so I went for it. Now 100 companies into autotowing.com. That's when I got and like, hey, all in, going to put the house on the line, going to possibly not even make payroll this month, and we're going to buy this domain name, which we did. And I wish I could tell you at that point, everything got easier. It did not. Things did not get easier. There are 30,000 towing companies in the in the towing industry, over 30,000 towing companies in the U.S. If you had to guess, without searching around on towing.com or anything, what percentage of towing companies we even have now as a successful business generating, millions over the course of a few years, how many towing companies do we have on there? What percentage of the industry? Kind of curious as to what you might think. And let me just say, our goal, in fact, our business model maxes out at 10% of the industry. We will, I don't anticipate ever having more than 10% of the towing industry on towing.com. Think about what that might mean for whatever domain name you may be potentially going to grind on. That is a lot of no's. Best case scenario, it is 9 no's for every 1 yes. But as I see popping up in the chat, monthly investor, maybe you heard me say it in the past, but 1%. We look at about 1% of the towing industry 1% would be 300. So we are actually, we are above that. We're 1,100 towing companies as of right now that are featured in at the primary package. They pay us a monthly fee to be on there. Point being, though, 30,000 companies, 1,100 are customers. You're going to hear no a lot. You have to understand that in whatever it is you're going to do. And I feel like often people ask me, how do we make money? How do we find our customers? And behind those questions, what I believe they're asking is it going to be easy? Will the domain name do the work for me or something? And the answer is no. We had to grind. We started off making lots of calls, some emails, we did a couple magazine ads, which were a waste of money. Then we did a trade show. And trade shows were where we learned a lot. We still do trade shows just because you learn so much. You have so many more if I will you conversations at the trade shows. So all that to say, it's going to be a grind, whatever you decide. As we look through these domain names today, as we consider these here, that some of the domain names that we're going to see over on expireddomains.net, you are going to have to grind at whatever you do. This is a business opportunity, but there is no shortcut in business. You're going to have to do the work, then systemize the work, and then if you're lucky and you've chose the right industry and you've developed the right skills, you can automate the work. But there's always doing. You have to grind it out. And I wish I had some great way to, some easy way to do it. But the thing is it's going to be hard, especially at first. But if you do the work, you will have a life that is so much more fulfilling than others can have. Because you've earned it. You've done that work, something that others cannot do. So there you go. That is how we started off on towing.com. And that's as we look at these other sites. If you're looking for a quick fix, a way for a domain name to turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars in reoccurring revenue and stuff, just know it's not going to be easy. It's going to be work. It's going to be a grind over time, but it is certainly going to be worth it. There you go. There you go. That's the most often question the question I get the most is, how'd you make money off that? How'd you do that? It's like, we just did it. We just grinded at it. So I used to say that all the time as we looked through the domain names. How would you find your first customers? You're going to be calling hundreds and hundreds of people. There is no secret about that. Maybe I'll start to do it again. Let me share out here. Matt is mentioning the Discord server. You can see the link there if you're in the chat. And that is indeed, I've broken down and I have a Discord server now. There's a few of us out there, 15, 17, I think, that we have out there. So as you can see, probably 17 viewers with us right this second. All of us, well, many of us are out there on the Discord server. If you want that link sent to you, domaintoprofit.com, and you can sign up for the mailing list. It is in the email you receive when you join that as well. I just added that. So there you go. And let me just say, I'm not a big fan of Discord, but I am going to give it a shot. So just recently this week, the news that Epic has let a domain name I renewed expire and then sold it and stuff, that was posted on the Discord server before I ever shared it out on Twitter. So I'm gonna try to do it there first for breaking news. But anyhow, okay. So let's get to some domain names. We'll share some more for insights and information as we get going. But we are going to go right back here, expireddomains.net. Expireddomains.net. This is a search engine to look through expired domains. Make sense? Yeah. So out here, you can sign up for a free user account. Yours is going to be the white background. I'm all high tech and changed mine to the dark background because I like it more. It's a free account. It's all free. Free. They make their money when you click the link and actually buy a domain name, not any other way. It does not add fees, support the site. It's a good one. So, and then I'm going to go use my saved search. Actually, let's go into it the manual way. So that way, if you're joining us for the first time, you can see how we get into the list that we look at here on Domain to Profit. We go to this middle tab. Let me shrink myself a little bit. So there's marketplace domain names up there. You'll click on that. And then we typically spend our time here at the GoDaddy expired domains link. And what do we think we're looking at there? We're looking at the domain names that were registered through GoDaddy and a few others that go through GoDaddy's auction system. They're expiring. They're going through here. Now, the only thing is, if you look here, 400,000 domain names. Wow. 400,000 domain names are going to be showing up there. And as you might guess, a lot of them are going to be garbage. Think about the domain names you've hand registered over the years. A lot of them are garbage. Hopefully you've learned that lesson by now. I know I do. I keep letting more and more expire, passing them on to new owners. We'll probably see some here today. We'll see. So now we have to filter it down. We do not want to see 400,000 domain names. We want to get it down to just the best domain names, the domain names that we can develop, the domain names that are valuable to someone that's thinking about starting a business based on a domain name. So we're going to go into filters, and I'm going to run through these kind of quick. There is a video saved on the YouTube channel where you can see the filters that we use here, but I'm going to go them quickly. So if you need more time, check out that video. We get rid of numbers. We get rid of hyphens. No reason. Those are not investable to have those in your domain names. 99.99999%. Just don't do it. Then we're going to look at English words, 1 to 3 English words. My big old head gets in the way sometimes here. So 1 to 3 English words there. Feel free to look in other languages and so on. We stick to English here, but I understand there's plenty of good domains in other languages as well. And then we look at domain name, the auctions that are ending in the next 8 days. And that's over there on the far side. Why 8 days? We want to include the auctions that will be ending during next week's show. So we include the 8th day. And then finally, we go to this additional tab up here. additional, and we do that because we're just looking at .coms. We do not look at any other extension here. Go look at past shows. I talk a little bit more about it. Basically, what it comes down to is .com is what you build on. .com is an investment. If you spend your time on a .com, you are building something that is investable. Otherwise, if you build on something else, you're always going to want the .com. It's true. You can say otherwise, but if you have social charts, this top one here, socialcharts.ai or something, it's not that that's a good domain name, socialcharts.ai. But you better darn well believe as you grow that company, you're always going to want the .com. So why start with something other than .com? Start with .com. So there you go. Okay. I'll try that out. I'm just looking at the chat here. I hear others losing domains at Epic, which makes me very, very sad. It's a disaster. Anyhow, I won't go into all that, but follow me over on Twitter. Maybe I can do an extra show as of that or some point. But he's asking for 2 or 3 names on the closeouts, which I love the closeouts. We can, if we have some time towards the end of the show, I will 100% dive into the closeouts. Closeouts are domain names that went through the expiring auction. Nobody bought any of them, so they are for sale. So they will actually decrease in price until somebody buys them. So there you go. Now that we have those, the final step. So now you can see we took it down from 400,000 to 93,000. Still a ton of domain names, right? We're not going to look through 93,000 domains. In fact, we're just going to look through probably 2 to 4, up to 600 domains. Typically, we stop at about 2 to 400. So finally, valuation, we want to click on that. Valuation is not the value of the domain name. It is simply a number assigned to let you know which one may be better than another one. So it's an order code where it tells you to order by it. So when we click on that, it brings the most valuable to the top. Again, not the value of the domain name, simply something to order by. If you use it as value, you will waste money. So don't do that. And now we just go from top to bottom, looking through expiring. This is exactly what you can do on your own time, which I highly recommend you continue this because there's lots of great domain names even after these first few hundred. So here's busybody.com. That was one of the ones I mentioned at pre-show. Busybody.com. It's a phrase that kind of a slang term for somebody that's kind of nosy or into other people's business. I believe it's one word. Going to search it out. And what I am on right here is SpyFu, SpyFu. SpyFu.com is a tool that allows you to see some search engine data. This is information on people that are searching for keywords. What we do with this is we look at the keywords of our domain name and we get rid of the .com. Because we're the .com, this is an important thing. Because we are looking at .coms only, we can just drop the .com and look at the keywords of the domain name. That's an important thing to, like, if you have AI or .org or any other extension, this is not going to be nearly as helpful as what it is. Like, you can still get an idea of a market, but if you are wanting to really target something, the .com is the marquee. It's the foundation of internet domain names for a topic. So just more .com reasons. There you go. So busybody.com, 5,200 times a month. It is available that people are searching for it. And we'll do the Control F. I'm going to highlight the text, hit Control F, and now it's going to highlight where that keyword shows up on here. The reason why we want to do that is we want to see where our domain name, the exact words of our domain name show up. And you'll see it shows up pretty frequently. Define busybody, busybody definition. Guessing those are English as a second language. They heard it, they're looking for it, or just probably my kids or something that's probably a pretty old term is busybody. You see questions over here. These are people asking questions to the search engine. You can, if you bought this domain name, what would you put on it? Right here. Just answer these questions or create a way for others to answer those questions. And there's a few hundred searches that you can, there's a few hundred visitors that you can get and be helpful to. But the main thing we would like to look at when we look at a domain development is this right here. That's the money. That's the money. If you, one of the, so you're, if let's say you're asking Drew, how do you make money from your domain name? How do you get those customers? It's this right here. If these numbers do not exist, there's nobody to call. There's nobody to ask, if I do this, will you give me money? So that is why I say I want to see the advertisers at 10 or more. I want to see the cost per click at $2 or more. Those are the industries that I typically dive into. This one is more of a slang term, so I did not expect to see much in the way of money, which that's the case. So busybody.com is that one. I want to look at one thing on this. We'll pull up. Let's look at, see, busybody.com or Busybody. So this here is trends.google.com, trends.google.com. It allows you to see not the amount of searches, but a trend. Is this searched more or less than usual, and so on. What I want to do is I have Busybody up there, and then I'm going to put Bygones. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pit these two terms up against each other, especially if you're looking at two potential domain names. In these cases, we don't even know if they're like valuable at all. This is going to allow us to see how the trends of these domain names are. And let me see if I can get this to show up a little better. So this is kind of all time. We have 2004 all the way over there, all the way to current. And it does appear that Bygones is in the red. Bygones is more popular than Busybody. Not really much of a trend as far as going down or up. Pretty consistent across the board. Maybe a little down on Bygones, but it's still the more popular search term. So what we're looking for here is this a term that is increasing, decreasing, staying the same? This is important, especially if it's a like a weird word like these words, Bygones, Busybody. These are odd words. These are not words that are used in business or anything like that very often. But this allows you to kind of judge, is there a trend? Are they going up or are they going down? And if they're going down, you got to consider that when you price it out. So what I often do is I like to add in keywords that I'm familiar with. So I know the traffic of towing. I know what that feels like. I know what that looks like on my reports. So in this case, you can see towing just decimates all the other keywords there. They're just a blip on the map. Basically, so if I was to compare towing to these other two keywords, there is no comparison. Towing wins. But if you know, say you have experience in paying for a keyword or targeting a keyword, you can add it in there just to see how it fits in. And that allows you to kind of put the data you see on the screen in the context of something you already know and have experience with. Make sense? I hope it does. That's adding in that keyword that you actually know about. Otherwise, what do these lines mean? They don't mean much. Like they're not in context of a specific amount. But if you know towing, and I know, we can generate 1,000 plus new visitors a day. So that means that you're looking at minuscule amounts of visitors possibly per day, but they're also going to be cheaper. So, and that's kind of that's one of the main things you want to look at is like, how's it compared to? So now we know we've looked at busybody.com, 5,200, that's a good amount. Thousands there's traffic there. If you're just looking for a blog or something, say you're just writing a blog about snooping or I don't know, something like that, might be a good domain name there for that. Let's go to our other one that I previewed in the thumbnail, and that's Bygones. From a bygone era. something like that. Again, kind of an older term, but we saw the trend was holding steady with it. This one ends tomorrow. $222 is bygones.com. We saw the trend, and now I'm going to open a new window there we go. So now I want to be able to compare them a little bit. We don't do much in the way of comparison, but I want to in this case. So now we'll have a SPY-FU for Bygones and a SPY-FU for Busybody. So here you go. Bygones, 7,500 searches. That looks pretty impressive, in my opinion. I kind of like seeing that. I like seeing that there is, more searches. We do the Control F. Yep. This phrase might be one that you're familiar with. Let bygones be bygones. There you go. Bygones be bygone. Somebody's adding in. That's weird. Okay. Bygones be bygones. So this domain name, bygones.com, I like seeing let bygones be bygones. Like, would you rather own bygones.com or let bygones be bygones.com? Other than pulling out at a party like, hey, I own bygones be bygones, I'd much rather own Bygones. You can target these keywords, target those other thousands of visitors. But I'm guessing as we scroll down and look at the money, wah, wah. And these are why both these domain names, as a domain developer, other than possibly a blog, I would be a skip on. There's no cost per click. Advertisers are zero. I want to see some money. I want to know who I can call, who are going to be my advertisers, who are going to be my potential customers. And right now, there's just nobody there. Therefore, they are both a pass for me. Let me see. Busybody, by the way, ends in 5 days, $348 currently. They're worth money. They're good terms. We saw that thousands of people are looking for them. But how would you monetize it? Who are you going to call? Who are you going to ask? If I build this out for this, will you? There's nobody there. There's nobody there. It's going to be more complicated than what it's worth for a domain developer. Now, if you're investing, who knows? If you can get them for less than $1,000, it might be worth it. Okay, so now we're just going to continue down the list and see if we can grab some stuff. So see if we can grab some good domain names. Looking through the chat, just kind of making sure. Google Trends is, it's one of the few things that Google does, but the fact that they purposefully, they put it on a scale so they don't actually show you the numbers, be so much better if they actually showed you the numbers. This many people this month search, this many, but no, they got to hold that data back for themselves. Big business going to big business. So, okay, let me see here. Let's move it on. Handmade, there might be something there. I'm sure a lot of the search traffic's due to the television Netflix show or something. By Mask. So I did see that some of these domain names here, these fall into the enum category here, as does Bygones, by the way. These are enum domain names, and only Bygones is within 2 days. The other ones are a few days out, so I don't talk about enum. I don't analyze enum domains unless they're within 2 days, mostly just because a lot of times they get pulled back and do not complete the auction, and why talk about something if it's not going to actually be available to you to get? So, event specialists. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Eventspecialist.com. This one ends tomorrow. So this is one of those reasons why watching live is the way to do domain to profit. Because if you are watching at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, this domain name's gone. Bummer, dude. Okay, $205 currently, ends tomorrow. And we want to see if Event Specialist is a good domain name. My gut says it's kind of like it might be a good domain name. It feels like a beachhead type domain name. And again, by beachhead, if we were to go after the event industry, maybe the event planner industry, this domain name, only 40 searches a month, it sounds okay. It sounds like a domain name that if we called up an event planner and said, hey, I'm Drew with eventspecialist.com. Would you be interested in becoming a member? We are developing a site that helps people find event specialists directly. And we have it up on, we're going to put it up on eventspecialist.com. We are asking if you would pay $20 a month to show up in your local area. You get a customized, whatever it is. You're going to hear no a whole lot, but a couple people would be like, I'm kind of interested in seeing what you put together. That's a pretty good domain name you got there. You hear that all the time, by the way. That's what you want to hear. If people aren't telling you your domain name's good, if you're not calling people in that industry and they're not saying, it's a pretty good domain name, how'd you get that? It's probably not a good domain name. Okay, just so you know, we hear it all the time in towing. How'd you get that domain name? And well, I get to tell them I paid a bunch of money, put my house in line. Don't do that unless you have revenue coming in. Advertisers, by the way, 0. Cost per click, 0. So even, that's a bummer domain name, but it could be your start in the event space. So keep that in mind. But the numbers make this, oh wait, let's look at this. I'm seeing something here, maybe. Okay, Control F, did a Control F on this to do the highlighting of the keywords. Driving me nuts. I need a haircut desperately bad. It's like tickling me. Overshare? Yeah, anyhow. You get this guy. I'm here. Even if I'm awkward or just, anyhow. Event specialists. Here we go. I was trying to get this one here. Look, event specialist jobs near me. I like seeing near me, but unfortunately, we have the plural domain name. Singular is what is showing up for that. Again, close enough, maybe, like you could possibly do something on it. It might work out, but when do you decide that it's not working out? I don't know. That's going to be the question. I, for one, am adding that as a watch list. Definitely, it's worth a few $100s because I want to move towards the event space, but I do not have a good domain name in it yet. This might be my beachhead. I don't know. I don't really like it all that much, but maybe. So, okay, let's keep on moving on. National Directory, the 339 or whatever, those are links that might have been used for like a spam type thing. I don't know what I'd use it for, but I actually get asked quite often. That's one of the things I see in questions a lot of times is how much do backlinks matter? And I won't spend too much time on it, but let me just say backlinks do matter. There are a lot of times people will pay a lot of money for search engine optimized domain names with a lot of backlinks to them. However, you need to be an SEO person. You need to know what you're doing with that. Otherwise, you're going to waste money. You are playing in somebody else's pool, and that's a quick way to waste a lot of money. I got started in domain names coming from the SEO side, and I wasted many, many thousands on the wrong domain names. I just don't mess with it anymore. I don't advise anybody to do it. I would much rather put my money into a great domain name that's going to be a great domain name, even if Google didn't like it, than to put my money towards something that Google may like a lot. There we go. But that's just me. I'm not much of a Google fan. So, okay, here we go. Back down. So National Directory, there might be something there. I'm not going to research it, though. Shout it. Let's go look at Shout It. So, shoutit.com, 6 days left on it, $15 currently. There are a couple bidders, meaning it will sell at auction, but it's low enough that you do not want to bid on it until later on. Let's go check to see if anybody, or if there's any keyword searches for it. So this would fall under what I call a marketing domain name. A marketing domain name is a domain name that people maybe use in their marketing campaigns or could use it in their marketing campaigns. Have you ever heard anybody say, hey, just shout it out, something like that? Well, there you go, shout it. It falls in the, not solid. It's not as good as get free quotes or something like that, but it's pretty good. Let's grab it. We're going to do a Control F, highlight it. You'll see it here. These are some of the different ways that Shout It is searched. 135 searches for Shout It, but Shout It Out, 1,500 searches. Shout It from the rooftops, 720 searches. Shout It Out Loud, Shout It Out Scholarship. Kiss, Shout It Out. Oh yeah, Shout It Out Loud. Yeah, it's a Kiss song. Oh yeah, there you go. Kiss. Anyhow. I know quite a few are English as second language joining us from other countries and things. If you know the band Kiss, you can go Google them. They're interesting, especially to try to explain to somebody that's not familiar with them. Okay. One advertiser, somebody's paying, but what are they paying? We don't know. It says 0. So I do like this domain name, short, memorable, impactful. I like marketing domain names just because I'm a marketing kind of guy. These are the kind of domain names that I waste my money on, though, mostly because what am I going to put on that domain name? I don't know, but I like it, so I end up spending on it, and it sits in my portfolio. So we'll see if I can hold off of making that mistake again. But I'm adding it to my watch list to pay attention to. Ends in 6 days, $15 currently. I would anticipate it going for a few $100s, just my gut. And I will make sure that it probably goes for at least $188 because this guy will probably bid that. But I'm going to wait till 5 minutes to do it. So there you go. Daddy Shark, Daddy Shark, Okay, I got a 7-year-old baby shark thing. Okay. I am looking, I did not buy anything from the Twitter roast thread. I will tell you, though, that I'm planning on doing a domain name roast thread again this week. Probably Wednesday is when I'm going to do that, just so you know. I was close to buying the one observations.com was mentioned in that roast thread. Elliot mentioned it, and it was priced well. And somebody else bought it before I ever really had a chance to consider it, which is great. It was a good domain name. Hard to monetize, so I won't go into it too terribly much, but I was geeking out over it a little bit. So, but I did not buy anything from that thread, I don't believe. I'm trying to remember. Nothing comes to mind. Sorry. I'm answering this question from Ravi here. So I guess I should put that up on the screen since I'm talking about it. But there you go. Asking if I did a Twitter thread. Follow me on Twitter. I talk about domains and other crazy stuff occasionally. But yes, domains are the primary conversation. And I do roasts occasionally where I will consider your domain name to buy or like or tell you how horrible it is, which unfortunately far too many people buy the wrong domain names. So look for that. I believe Wednesday afternoon, evening is when I'm going to put that out there. Whenever I have a chance to sit at my computer and respond is when I want to do that. Giving thanks. I could have swore that I think I own Swift app. I don't own the plural, but filtration system. That seems like something. What do you think? Filtration system, $45 currently, ends in 5 days. And let's go SpyFu filtration system. 1,100. Now, okay, get ready, folks, because we're probably going to see our first domain name with some money behind it. This is why you need to look up SpyFu. This is why you need to look at the keyword data. Again, there's going to be a grind if you build on filtrationsystem.com. So don't just buy it because it's going to have some money behind it. At least my gut tells me there's going to be money behind it. Make sure it's something you're interested in. Your interest in money will only take you so far. Trust me, eventually you're going to want to be interested in the subject. So filtrationsystem.com, 1,100 searches happening over there. Let's do the control highlight here. And boom, that lit up like Christmas, I guess, maybe. Water filtration system, 10,000, 10,000 searches for water filtration system. Water filtration system for home, 2,400. Home water filter. This is one of those domains. This is why you watch this show. Okay, if you're interested in these kind of this is a good domain name, good keywords. I love seeing long tail keywords with my keyword in it. My keyword being the keywords of the domain name. Water or filtration system are my keywords, and now I can target them. So here we go. Let's see. Oh, so close, but it's still really good. I like to see this. So here's the money for this domain name. We meet what I like to see. We have cost per click of $2 or more. Bravo. And advertisers are 8. So I like to see it at 10 or higher, but 8 is darn close. What does that mean? That means that I can tell you that this domain name, using the business model that we use, it can be priced as high as, if I was very interested in this industry, which I'm not interested really at all, this domain name could easily be a $2,500 domain name, and we can, boom, $2,500. You can actually probably, based on this middle keyword, even go higher than that. I will say, though, that because I have zero interest in developing this site, it may work with our business model. Anyhow, I could see it going. If you're interested in the industry, you can go a couple $1,000s and it could possibly be worth it. If you're not interested in the industry like me, in order to keep people honest and make sure the domain name is valued as much as what I know it should be worth, it is probably worth doing at least, I'll probably take it up to $900. I'm not going to do it right now, but $900 is probably where I will fall on this one. I could possibly go 1,100, possibly even more. How did I come up with that? Most of it is my gut. So let me just say, most of it is my gut, but I will tell you, here's what I did. The cost per click is at $2.40 or $2.50, and the advertisers are 8. So it's approximately what I want it to be, not exact, but close. So given that, I take the number of exact searches up there, and as long as those two numbers are at or above what I want them to be, I would take the cost per click and multiply it by the exact number of searches. I then kind of just weigh it based on this middle column here. And in this case, I could see it being 2,200 or more. So that's $2 per click. I rounded down because we're not at 10 customers. So I weigh it down a little bit. But this here, it's hard to put a value on this. This is going to be a lot of work to reach, but there's a lot of reward here if you spend the time to reach it. So basically, $2,200 is what I come up with. That is $2 per click, or $2 times 1,100. That means you're able to hopefully target a $2,200 value a month, or break it out every year. You can go higher, but you'd have to love the industry, and you hear my opinions on it. Best domain name we found so far, though, filtrationsystem.com. There you go. Did I add that to my watch list? Hopefully. No, I did not. See? Somebody out there was like, oh. Career it. I don't know if that's 100% spelled right, but career it. Not sure what to do with it, but I don't mind it. Or it could be like a career in IT, careerit.com. You can play with it. Job boards are a common domain name development. That is a website where you build it out and then put job postings. People just pay to do a job posting. Part of why I don't really like that industry is it's not reoccurring revenue typically. I prefer reoccurring revenue. I want somebody to join my domain name. I want to take a domain name, something that's valuable, something that is worth good money, and I want to say, hey, I'll pay $10,000 for this domain name, and you just pay me $10 a month. and I'll make sure you show up in your area. It's kind of like timeshare. Taking this big expensive asset and kind of break it out, except for I keep all the ownership and develop and work my butt off on it. Why? Yeah, so there you go. So I don't really like the jobs business model as much, but I know I see people that I follow on Twitter will make a ton of money off jobs boards, but I'm not in this for money. I'm in this for lifestyle, and I don't like the feast and famine that comes with non-reoccurring. So there you go. Okay, training team. Don't mind that. That seems like a pretty good domain name as well. Let me know. Kitchen bathroom. Kitchen bathroom. That would be a really weird layout. So here's what this is. This is a trap domain name. People are searching for kitchen and bathroom, or like they're looking for remodels of kitchen and bathrooms. Kitchenbathroom.com. That one's kind of a trap. Experience tells me it's a trap. They are actually searching for "and" in there, and it's removed. And long story short, avoid it. Tool safe. Medicinally.com. When's that expire? Okay, that's 7 days. Wait, let me see. 7 days out, so I'm not going to look at it. But I like it. Medicinally.com. That goes for something. You'll find a lot of enom domain names showing up that are great, and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. I want that. And the reason why that is they're going to be pulled back. They're not actually going to expire. So Live Summit, I see that one over here. Summits and things like pretty good for a domain investment. You sell it possibly for a few hundred or maybe a few thousand if it makes sense for an industry. But industry trade shows a lot of times will use Summit. Ignore that. Don't, like, you're going to waste your money if you do that. If you have experience in it, maybe. Any ideas? Guitar sales. Okay, that's another enom one. Let me just look at these real quick. I want to look at any ideas. Just so you know, I do domain to profit as much because I'm going to be looking through these domain names, whether it's with you joining me or whether I'm looking at them on my own. So this is one of those domains I'm interested in, but I don't know if I really have much to tell you about it other than I'm interested in it. Ends in 6 days, anyideas.com. Let's go find out if my interest is warranted. Anyideas.com. As somebody that does a show every Monday talking about business ideas that we can put up on a domain name, well, just rings with me a little bit. 90 searches. It says people are paying $5. Not sure what it is because there's no actual advertisers down there. If you can see that. And let's do the Control F. Nothing. Any ideas of sex positions? Nothing. There's nothing here other than a domain name and a question that might make me blush. So anyideas.com. I don't mind it, but it would just be for the fun of it. I like those kind of geeky things. In fact, that's kind of my personal list, although it's already $54, so maybe I won't mess with it. Okay, and I did mention that I will look at some buyout domains. So let me just quickly, I'm going to scan down through these, see if I'm going to see anything that's really good. And we've not even made it through two. Ooh, what about this one? Remote Notary. I don't think that's a thing, but it might be a thing. So let me look at this real quick. RemoteNotary.com ends in 4 days. Why am I looking this one up? Partly because I think I've searched for this before. When somebody needed a notary, I'm like, oh, is there such a thing as Remote Notary? 1,000 searches for RemoteNotary.com. I don't know if it's worth anything. I don't even know I don't think you can do a remote notary service, but remote notary near me, 1,300 searches, folks. That is what I like to see. That is why this domain name caught my eye, is I was hoping that that was a thing. Remote notary near me, 1,300 searches. Please be some money. Nope. Well, that's a bummer. So 6 advertisers, what are they paying? It's not showing up. We don't really know. But there is some business related to it. I like to see near me in the search, in the highlighted results there. Near me after your keyword means that people are looking for localized. So just like towing.com, right? You search for a towing company near you. So some people will be like, well, I'll just go get remote notary near me. There's a reason we limit it to 3 words. That 4th word is a killer. In fact, the 3rd word is a killer. You want to try to keep things down to 2 or less. But yeah, don't. I'm not a big fan of the near me's on domain names. But you use your own judgment on that. It's more of my gut than anything else. But I do like seeing that. I wish there was money involved in it. I am going to add that to my watch list. $300 currently, ends in 4 days. Not sure what I would bid on it. There's 0 advertisers showing up. Therefore, it's going to be kind of a gut call. I'm thinking I'll be at least $688 though, because I do think notary needs a service like towing.com. So remote notary might be my beachhead domain name. So there you go. Let's go look at those closeout domain names. As I told Ravi I would, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And so to get to closeout domain names, luckily for us, expireddomains.net already has this organized for us. Use it. Use it. This is great. So closeout domain names are closeout domain names. So under the GoDaddy, so Marketplace, GoDaddy, closeout domains. Here's what you're going to see when you do this. You're going to see a lot of domain names again. Now, our filters are already applied. So the same 7 filters. So we're looking at .coms, 1 to 3 words, no hyphens, no numbers, in the next 8 days, although that doesn't really matter with these. But the domain names you see here, you can buy them. You don't have to deal with an auction. They are going to be $50 or less. So just so you know, that's one of the nice things about closeouts is you can do that. Now here's one of the nice things about, here's one of the bad things about closeouts. You can buy them now, there's no auction, and they're $50 or less. Why is it a good and bad? Because you can waste a lot of money on closeouts only by domain names that you truly, really love. Because there's a reason they're here, because no other investor bought into them or was interested in it. Maybe you got lucky and they didn't see it. Who knows? Just use caution. Here's how I do my closeout domain names. Actually, typically, I will only look at closeout domain names with a keyword filter. So I usually do a keyword filter. So what does that mean? I will come into closeout domain names and I will set up a filter. As you use this filter, there's so many more filter options here on expired domains. Look at all these. There's just tabs of filters, all kinds of stuff you can filter by. One of the things I like to do, though, is I want to look through closeout domains and try to weed them down to the domain names I really like. For example, maybe you want to look at service. So you want to see if it contains service. So we'll just run through. And now you'll see live stream service, live stream service. I half want to just go buy that domain name if it's available. There you go, first one to get it. That seems like a darn good domain name to me. Live stream service, I don't know what you would put on it because it's very technical. You're probably not going to develop it, but I am guessing there are searches for it. 135 searches. 2 advertisers, not really much happening, but there you go. Livestreamservice.com, $11. That's why we look at these closeouts. They have a buy now. Why is it $11, Drew? You told me that it was $50. It starts at $50, and if nobody buys it, it gets all the way down to, I think $11 might be where it stops. I'm guessing one of you right now are buying this domain name. If not, I may end up buying that domain name. I don't know why. I'm probably not going to like it. I hate to see it sitting there for $11. That's why I would probably buy it, not because I actually want it. So why did I do the keyword service? I just have had a lot of luck having one word with service or services at the end. So in your filters, you can do service or services at the end. That would be this box here. But because I did contain, it allows me to see even both service and service. Service and services. There's other ways to do it. Hopefully that makes sense. But I do want to look at some domain names here versus me just talking about that. Takedown service. If you're trying to have a service that takes down content from the internet, maybe you do legal threats. I can see that being a legal type domain name. Takedownservice.com. Transports services, bad domain name that has that middle S. Avoid that domain name, middle S trap. And going to give it a little bit top service. Nope. So this is what. So I like the keyword filter though. Let me go back up. And again, I am looking. I know I'm clicking around. I hope I'm not giving anybody motion sickness here as I do this. I just wanted to show you, this is still ordered by the evaluation column over here. So the best ones are on top. Doesn't mean they're the best services, but there you go. Okay. So what other keywords? Well, search for whatever keywords you have experience with that you're interested in. Sometimes I will do, actually quite often, to be quite honest, I wasn't going to do it because it's one of the searches I do to look for domains myself. But I'll just share with you, you're here, it's 4 o'clock, we're an hour in, so here's one of those little secrets for you. I love domain names that start with my. So this is one of the searches I do. I use the filter and I look for domain names that start with my. It starts with my. Now, it's just one of the things I look at. It doesn't mean that these are going to be good. It just, I've had good luck with it. My doctor cares. Like my stimulation, I don't know. But if it speaks to you, that might be worth something. Do you have a product service that stimulates in some way? Maybe it's like I use a Brain FM. It's music that just helps you, just background music while you're working. So mystimulation.com, my room booking. So there you go. There's one of my secret keywords that I search for. Let's do a wrap up here. It's after 4. I want to wrap it up. So we looked at, there's a buy now right now for livestreamservice.com, and it is gone. Somebody already got it. There you go. RemoteNotary.com. I'm probably going to participate in this one. I could see that being worth at least $600 because that's what I'm probably going to at least bid on. But RemoteNotary.com ends in 4 days. AnyIdeas.com just for fun. Probably not going to bid on it, but still. Best domain name of the day, filtrationsystem.com. Loved all the other long tail keywords that were contained our keyword or our domain name. Ends in 5 days, $45 currently. Wait to the last minute to bid on it, but it could very well be a 4-figure domain name. Shoutit.com. There you go. Do you like it? Well, shoutit.com. Okay, 6 days left on that one, $15 currently. Event Specialist, a beachhead type domain name. If you want to enter the event industry for a few $100s, you can possibly do that with eventspecialist.com. $205 ends in tomorrow. One of the featured domain names that we looked at, both Bygones and Busybody, Bygones.com, $220 ends tomorrow. And Busybody, $348 ends in 5 days. Both of those kind of fun domain names. Are they worth getting? I don't know. I'm not really going to go pushing after them too much, but there you go. We've looked at SpyFu. We've looked at some of the background of towing.com and how I grinded, how not just me, but me and my team that we've developed over years, grinded. We did the work. We used the statements. If I do this, will you do this? And we use a domain name as the feature sales point as we have those conversations, just like you can, possibly with some of these domain names that we have, that we've looked at today. You can possibly turn one of these domain names into a business, which is what these are made for. These are made for development, whether it's a blog, whether it's a product service directory like we run, whatever it is. If you have domain names, they are best used developed. They are best to be developed. Create the life you want. You can do it on a domain name. I'm Drew Wash's Domain to Profit. I believe that there's some value in this. I hope that you got something out of it. I will see you over on the Discord server. Join me there. And otherwise, I'll see you over on Twitter. Just find me over there. Drew Wash, like wash your hands. And that is it, folks. Thank you for joining me. Next week will be a recorded stream. I'm 99% sure it's going to be a recorded stream. Join me on the Discord server. I will share out when I'm recording that. It'll probably be Sunday afternoon. And then you can join me live, and then we will do a restream of that at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. So just so you know, there's going to be some logistics. I'm going on a cruise. I'm taking a vacation. It's been a long time. So yeah, watch for that. I will send out an email as well. But just so you know, it will be a Sunday afternoon live stream, a little more private. It won't be promoted as much, so you'll need to be on the inside. And then we will restream it 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for show 132. So there you go. So in that case, if you want to watch the restream, see you 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. Otherwise, see you for that special recording, and then I'll see you live in a couple weeks. Take care.